Have you ever noticed how strange dating apps actually are? You match with someone attractive, have a decent conversation, maybe even get their number, and somehow by the end of it, you don't feel any closer to another person. All you feel is like you've spent an hour scrolling. A lot of people are quietly deleting these apps right now, and the obvious explanation is that they're frustrated, bitter, or simply not getting results. But I don't think that's the whole story. What seems to be happening is something stranger. A growing number of people are starting to realize that their experience can feel empty even when it's technically working. A lot of people leave dating apps after getting exactly what they wanted. Matches, conversations, sometimes even dates. Yet many of them walk away with the feeling that something is missing, even if they can't quite explain what it is. That's a strange outcome, because most products fail by not giving people what they asked for, while dating apps often do exactly that. So why do so many people still leave feeling unsatisfied? Part of the answer is hidden in how these apps are designed. You look at someone's photos, read their profile, send a message, and before the conversation has even gone anywhere, another match appears. Then another. Without really noticing, your attention shifts away from the person in front of you toward who else might be available. And comparison changes everything. The moment people become options, it's harder to see them as people, which is why some of the most promising conversations on dating apps quietly disappear. Not because there wasn't chemistry, but because there's always another profile waiting behind the next swipe. What's strange is that more attention doesn't necessarily make people feel more wanted. In a lot of cases, it does the opposite. Because when everyone becomes replaceable, validation gets easier to receive and harder to actually believe. That's how someone can rack up more matches than ever and still feel lonely. The apps solved access but never solved connection. Imagine walking into a bookstore with 10 books on the shelf. You'd probably choose one and start reading. Now imagine that same bookstore with 10 million books. Suddenly, the decision itself becomes stressful. And instead of enjoying the book already in your hands, part of your attention stays fixed on the possibility that a better one is sitting somewhere else. Dating apps create a very similar problem. An endless supply of options sounds exciting in theory, but in practice it often creates a subtle feeling that you are always on one swipe away from something better. And if everyone feels that way at the same time, nobody ever fully settles into the conversation they're already having. What's interesting is that this doesn't just affect how you see other people, it changes how you see yourself. At some point, most people stop asking whether they actually like this person and start asking how to keep this person's attention instead. That's a small shift, but it changes everything. You start thinking about what sounds confident, how long to wait before replying, which photos get the best reactions, whether your message was interesting enough, funny enough, clever enough. Before long, you are no longer trying to connect, you are trying to perform. The strange part is that almost everyone is doing this at the same time. Everyone says they want authenticity. Everyone says they want something real. Yet everyone is also aware they're being evaluated. So people become slightly more polished, slightly more strategic, less themselves. Eventually, a lot of users notice the same result. You can spend weeks talking to someone and still feel like you never actually met them. And maybe that's the irony at the center of all this. Most people download dating apps because they want something real, a real relationship, a real connection, someone they don't have to perform around. Yet the environment itself often nudges people in the opposite direction. Not toward honesty, but presentation. Not toward presence, but optimization. Now, to be fair, dating apps clearly work. People meet through them every day. Relationships happen. Marriages happen. That's not really the point. The point is that technology shapes behavior, and every system rewards certain habits while discouraging others. When people become profiles, conversations become numbers, and attention becomes something everyone is quietly competing for. Something important tends to get lost along the way. Maybe that's what so many people are reacting to. the growing feeling that somewhere along the way meeting people started to feel less human than it used to. And once you notice that feeling, it's surprisingly difficult to ignore. So maybe dating apps aren't making people worse at dating, maybe they're making people better at shopping. And that might be exactly why so many people feel relieved the moment they leave.